Social Media College was actually founded about 4 years ago, and we noticed a real gap in the market for social media marketing education. And we went down the path, the long and arduous path of getting the Diploma of Social Media Marketing nationally accredited with the Australian government through ASQA. And we're proud today to say that this diploma is studied by thousands of students across Australia. I think the reason that social media marketing is so relevant to organisations today is that the world has really changed. People are no longer spending a lot of time with traditional media formats like radio, television, newspapers, and their consumption habits, their media consumption habits have moved online. And as a result, advertising and marketing has also moved online. And this means that anyone who's interested in working in a marketing role, a job of the future, if you will, means that they need to understand the online advertising formats. And there's really two primary formats. There's search engine marketing, which is very basic. You're running text ads, typically in Google. And then there's social media marketing. And social media has so many more benefits over search. You've got the brand awareness, you've got the ability to engage with the audience, and of course you've got all that rich data with which you can analyze to ensure that you're getting the maximum return on your investment. So the careers available in social media marketing are really diverse and broad. You've got everything from your strategists who come up with the content strategy, with which social media networks to use, with which audience they're going to target, to people who create the content, and that can be video content, it can be written content, it can be any type of content that's used on social media, and that's really fun. You can be a photographer that specializes in social media content, or you can be a writer that specializes in writing blog articles. And then you've got people who are responsible for distributing that content across social media networks. And this is typically what's called a social media manager, someone who sets up the profile on the social media network, like your Facebook page or your Instagram profile. And then they're responsible for posting the content and also engaging with the community, which can be a lot of fun. Then you've also got people who are responsible for distributing that content across social media. And this is a role typically done by a social media manager. They're the ones that are responsible for setting up the profiles, and then they post the content or sometimes schedule the content and also engage with the community, any comments that are made back or any customer service queries that they have. A social media manager is a very fun and exciting role. They also work closely with the strategists to ensure that they are effectively implementing the social media marketing strategy that the strategist came up with. And then finally, you've got people who specialize in data and reporting, and this is a huge growth area at the moment for social media marketing. What we're seeing is a real explosion in paid advertising formats, everything from Facebook ads, Instagram ads, LinkedIn sponsored content, YouTube sponsored content as well. So this is a really big growth area. There's lots of fun and exciting jobs here. And if you're good at setting up these ad campaigns and also managing them and ensuring that the organization is getting the lowest possible cost per customer, then you're certainly a great way to accelerate your career. So as I said, there's lots and lots of job opportunities available in social media, and it's really up to students to first undertake a formal qualification in the area and then find the area that they want to work in. So every person that I've ever spoken to that works in the social media marketing industry really talks about how fun and dynamic and exciting it is. And there's lots of examples of people who have studied social media, got a job in the industry, and then found that they've been able to accelerate their career because there's simply not enough people at the moment to fulfill the demand for people in this area. And certainly anyone who likes using social media personally, anyone who can make a career out of this is obviously in a great pace. If you're passionate about something and you undertake the studies that you need to undertake, then you have a real opportunity to get into the industry. And I think working in the industry is going to be something that's a lot of fun. You're talking about creating content. You're also talking about networking with people via the social media networks, and then obviously analyzing the data that's associated with that to determine whether or not your marketing efforts are actually getting the results they want for the organization. So it's really about keeping pace with what's happening in the industry as well to ensure that your skills are constantly being updated. I think the thing that students find most engaging about the Diploma of Social Media Marketing is the assessments. right at the beginning, they're asked to select a business that they're going to use for those assessments throughout the diploma. Now, this can be a business that they have access to, such as a friend or family business. It can be their own business, or it might be a business that they create for the purposes of the diploma. And for this business, they're going to create a social media marketing strategy. They're going to then create some content that they'll go onto at least 4 different social media networks and post the content, and then gather feedback and measure the results of this content that they've posted onto the social media networks. So what that means is that they're doing their assessments on a business that they're really passionate and enthusiastic and engaged with, but also they're getting the practical skills and knowledge that they need to ensure that they can go into the workforce and actually deliver, and they've got that hands-on experience. And I guess the other great thing about the assessments is that students graduate with a great body of work, evidence that they can show to a prospective employer that demonstrates that they have experience on social media and that they know what they're doing. So that's by far and away the most engaging part of the diploma. So the advice that I would give to anyone who's considering a career in social media marketing is to, first and foremost, you need to undertake a formal qualification. The industry is absolutely booming and it's a great time to get in, but it's also becoming quite competitive. And the only way you're really going to stand out in the competitive job market is to ensure that you have that formal qualification. And so that's my number one piece of advice. The second piece of advice would be to ensure that you really keep up to date with what's happening in the social media industry. It's a very dynamic, fast-paced industry where things are changing quite rapidly. The social media networks are changing and also the trends are changing as well. So you want to make sure you subscribe to some of the leading blogs out there and really just keep up to date with what's happening so that you can ensure that you're, when you do get time to go and sit down and conduct a job interview, that you're able to clearly articulate what's happening and the value that you can add to that particular employer. So they're my 2 pieces of advice. So the diploma is comprised of 5 core units, which are dedicated to social media marketing, and then 3 BSB units, which are taken from the Diploma of Business and or the Diploma of Marketing and Communications. The first unit is content marketing, and this is where students are required to come up with a content strategy for their chosen organization, and then actually create that content. And the diploma covers in this unit many different content formats, whether that's still images or photographs, videos, infographics, blog articles, podcasts, you name it. It really covers a very wide depth of different content formats that someone could create when they're looking to post content on social media. Units 2 and 3 are mainstream social media networks and niche social media networks. And the mainstream networks covered are Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And the niche networks covered are Snapchat, Pinterest, Messenger, WhatsApp, and WeChat, China's leading social media network. In Units 2 and 3, students are required to come up with a strategy for each one of these networks, and then using some of the content that they created in Unit 1, actually post this onto the networks and then measure the results that they're getting from it. It's very fun and engaging and ensures that the students get that practical hands-on experience, but also understand each one of the social media networks so that they can go out into the workforce and really add value to their employer once they graduate. Unit 4 is all about personal branding, and this is where students learn how to leverage the brand of individuals to achieve an organization's social media marketing objectives. The example we always like to use is Richard Branson. He is very well known, he motivates people, he has a very prominent profile on social media, but if you look at most of his posts, they actually link back to the Virgin blog. So he's using his personal brand to achieve the objectives of the organization. So students here are going to learn all about how to update their own personal brand, but also potentially how to manage the personal brand of other people in the organization. Unit 5 is all about social media conversion and email marketing. Once students have created some content in Unit 1 and then distributed it across both mainstream and niche social media networks or potentially personal brands, they're going to generate a huge amount of traffic back to the organization's website. So then what? The next step is to convert all of that traffic into paying customers. And this is done primarily using email marketing. And this is where marketers try to obtain an email address, potentially through some free content download or webinar registration, lots of different tactics. obtain an email address, and then nurture that prospect via email. This unit also covers retargeting, which is how to track people with ads across the social media networks, as well as how to build landing pages. In addition to the 5 core social media marketing units, there are 3 units from the Diploma of Marketing and Communications and the Diploma of Business. This is really, really important because it's unlikely that you're going to go into the workforce and find that the organization is spending 100% of its budget on social media. It's likely to spend on other advertising formats as well, such as search engine marketing, potentially outdoor ads, maybe even radio or television. This helps students understand the broader business and marketing context with which social media operates within an organization. It's unlikely that the organization will spend 100% of its budget on social media marketing, so it's important for students to understand how social media marketing fits into the business overall. The reason it's such a good time to be studying social media is the industry is absolutely booming. Here in Australia, PwC, which is the leading forecaster for the Australian media and entertainment outlook, have forecast that by 2022, 2 out of every $3 spent on advertising will be spent online. And the majority of that is going to social media marketing and search engine marketing. We've also just ticked over 1/3 of the world's population are now active social media users. It's where people are going for entertainment and therefore where advertisers are following.